He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great either. And he didn't stand out. He didn't make a lot of splash plays in practice when he was healthy.
Welcome back in, everybody. A Wednesday edition of Birds 365. Moving right along. Eagles will be back out there for OTAs tomorrow. Johnny Mack and reporters will be in attendance. So we'll have good coverage all week long, and especially tomorrow with some of the clips that'll come out from the second OTA that will be open to reporters. It'll be the fifth total OTA out of 6. So Eagles offseason moving right along, and then mandatory minicamp, as we discussed, coming up next week. Johnny Mack, I want to talk about Nakobe Dean with you. How long is the leash on Nakobe Dean? You seem to be giving him some time. The Eagles seem to be giving him some time. He's going into year 3 here. I know the guy's injured all the time, but I mean, eventually that excuse is going to run out.
I don't. Nakobe, I think people are unfair with the injuries. I'm not picking on you, Xander.
No, I know, and I'm not taking it personally, but I will say, John, I hear what you're saying, but it's year 3. The guy's got to get on the field, no?
Yeah, well, he does. But year 1, he wasn't on the field because TJ and Kaiser were. He played all 17 games. He played every single game. He was a big part of the special teams unit. And one of the concerns coming out why he fell to the 3rd round is some teams had concerns over his shoulder. And he had whether you want to call it a strain, some people thought it was a strain pec. Some people thought it was torn, a little bit slightly torn. Either way, it proved not to be true, and he played every single game. And last year, obviously, TJ and Kaiser are gone, and the whole projection was he would take over, and that's part of the reason they let TJ walk, and he got hurt twice. And the second one was very serious Lisfranc injury, which is an injury. You know, I like when I talk about players playing through injuries.
Yeah, you're not
can't
playing
play
through
a Lisfranc injury. And he had surgery, and that's what he's dealing with. He's coming back from that, and he hasn't been completely cleared from that. It's not a new injury. And I don't know why people keep thinking it's a new injury or that he should be on the field. I don't know. Like a lot of it are saying Sidney Brown can't be on the field for week 1. Maybe won't be, maybe will be. But there's an old school mentality of an ACL takes a calendar year. It doesn't anymore. It takes 9 months. And that'll be right around week 1 for Sidney Brown. The whole part of OTAs is, would it be nice to see him on the field? Yes. But are you going to push it for that? I don't see why you would. So I would be surprised if he's out there. And if he is, it's probably an overreaction to some of this nonsense going out there that he's always hurt or he's hurt again, or it's the same damn injury. He's rehabbing. He's coming back from a Lisfranc surgery, and he's almost ready, and he probably is ready. And they're probably holding him back on purpose. The Eagles.
Okay, so what does he need to do in year 3? Because this is technically a contract year. It's not. He does have a 4th year in the deal, but
yeah,
technically he can get extended after this year. What does he have to do that? And do you think he can do that from what you've seen of him so far?
I don't know if he can stay on the field as a middle linebacker, but I'm more concerned, and I've been concerned, he's very undersized. And not only height-wise, again, he's listed at 231. I don't think he's 231. He's probably low 220s. And can you hold up physically at that particular position? I talked about Demario Davis a lot. Weird. But again, man, look at Demario Davis. Anybody's got their computers out watching us, go get a picture of Demario Davis. That dude is ready to play NFL football. He is jacked. He is a middle linebacker. And he is equipped from a body standpoint to play 98 consecutive games and beat people up while he's doing it. Nakobe's not that guy. So I have some real concerns over the lack of size, but that's where the game's going. And people are looking for undersized coverage linebackers and can they run? Can they go sideline to sideline? That's what they're looking for in this new environment. Some teams only play, like I said, there's Josh Metellus I talk about all the time. He plays linebacker in nickel situations. He's a safety. He was a safety in Michigan. Very versatile player. And, played 13 positions. I joke they're making up positions for him. And he plays linebacker in nickel. That's the way the league is going. Now, my concerns are about holding up because of his physical stature.
The eye test doesn't look. I know you're saying the NFL is changing, and I certainly agree with that. But when I look at Nakobe Dean, and I just looked up some pictures of Demario Davis, who I do know, but to refresh the memory, boy, they don't look like they play the same position.
And there aren't a lot of linebackers that look like Demario now. I mean, to be honest, he's kind of the outlier.
No, but even other guys, even Fred Warner, even Roquan Smith, even Patrick Queen, like Nakobe just doesn't look like them to me. And I'm not trying to knock the guy. I'm just trying to evaluate the player for what we've seen of him so far. And the eye test certainly doesn't bode well for Nakobe Dean.
The stature. And look, the performance when he did play last year, he wasn't playing great. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great either. And he didn't stand out. He didn't make a lot of splash plays in practice when he was healthy. So, I mean, there's some standpoint to did people overrate him coming out of Georgia because Georgia's Georgia and they had 97 stars on the defense. And, maybe he was successful and the Eagles kind of envisioned that. Well, it's going to be just like Georgia with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and Nakobe Dean. And, maybe Jordan and Jalen impacted how successful and everybody else they had. I mean, they had the number 1 overall pick. Nolan Smith was a person. They had a lot of talent at Georgia, to put it mildly.
Nolan Smith's up next for me on the milk carton if he doesn't do something this year. So
Nolan, you're next. Same thing, shoulder. And his shoulder injury was real. So hopefully he had a procedure in the offseason. Hopefully he's going to be healthy. And I think you'll see a better Nolan Smith, but he's got to be healthy. And we got to see that. He was dropping in coverage a lot as the hook flat defender. I'm sure people will love that from Vic Fangio.
Sounds like Vic's going to be doing a lot of that, whether people like it or
not. Remember, it's a pass camp.
Yeah, we've talked about that. So I don't want to overreact to it, but it will be good to see the reaction of fans and everybody alike to see how they react to Vic Fangio. And by the way, Vic's not going to care. Desai might have cared, and even Gannon might have cared. People were saying Vic will not care. Let's go to a commercial break, Johnny Mac. I want to get to one more quick break, and we'll get to Brandon Lee Gowton, and then we'll take it to the top of the show. So BLG coming up next from Bleeding Green Nation. Stay tuned on Birds 365.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.